What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I am coming at you guys freshly off of the new TCG Forbidden Limited list, which shocks a lot of people. They didn't shock me, but I'm so used to ban lists here and there. It's just like, okay, new list, woo. So I'm giving you guys an update to my Sky Striker deck. I was initially going to update this, and I had just posted a Shadal's um, deck profile, but because of the list changing up, I have to switch everything up now. So luckily enough, I didn't post this, but now I have this ready. So if you guys are ready for it, let's actually take a look at my variation of Sky Striker. This is going to be a little strange too, because I added some stuff to it. So I'm running only 3 copies of course, the main lady herself, Sky Striker Ace Ray. I'm running 1 Sky Striker Ace Rose. And just for some spicy tech, I'm running 2 copies of Summoner Monk. Yeah, I'm running Summoner Monk. And then following that, I'm running 3 copies of DD Crow and 3 copies of Ash Blossom in Joyous Spring. So I'll get to the Summoner Monk soon. So in case people are wondering about that. But yeah, that's my monster lineup. And then for my spells, 2 copies of Area Zero, 2 copies of Shot Cannon, a Shark Cannon, not Shot Cannon. Then 2 copies of Widow Anchor, 1 copy of Hornet Drone, 1 copy of Multi Roll, 1 copy of um, Afterburner, 1 copy of Jamming Wave. So let me scoot this over because there's a few more of these. 1 copy of Eagle Booster and 1 copy of Hercules Base. Then, for the rest of the spells, I'm running 3 copies of Foolish Burial of Goods, 2 copies of Twin Twister, 1 copy of Mind Control, 1 copy of Metal Foes Fusion, 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, 1 copy of Terraforming, and 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. So that is it for all of the cells in the main deck. Then for the trap cards, I'm running 2 copies of Infinity Impermeance, 2 copies of Compulsory Evacuation Device, and 2 copies of Solemn Judgment. So that is it for all the cards in the main deck. Then for the extra, I'm running 3 copies of Sky Striker Ace Shizuku, 3 copies of Sky Striker Ace Kagari, 1 copy of Hayate, 1 copy of Kina, and 1 copy of uh, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Zeki, if that pronunciation is correct. Then for the rest of the monsters, I'm running 1 copy of each of the Charmers, 1 copy of Hida, the Flame Charmer Ablaze, 1 copy of Winnie, Wind Charmer Verdant, and 1 copy of Usa, the Earth Charmer Immobile? Yeah, Immobile. Then I'm running 1 Tapologic Bomber Dragon, 1 Barrel Sword Dragon, and 1 Barrel. Well, oh, I'm sorry, I got 2 mixed up. 1 Barrel Low Dragon and 1 Barrel Sword Dragon. So that is it for the main deck. For the extra in the main. 15 in the extra, 40 in the main. Let's go over just, what I'm running exactly. So I'll quickly go over the hand traps because I think that's the more important thing here is Ash Blossom and DD Crow are going to see a lot of play now with triple pot of avarice. You have a lot of the floats here and there. You just have a lot of control aspects that these 2 cards can really help you out with and take advantage of getting rid of a lot of things. So the DD Crow Ash Blossom setup is going to be great. And it's a good negation to a lot of things going on right now and possibly things in the future. So it's nice to have the access to them. And I just chose to run the triples of, the triples of each of them just because it's just really easy access to these monsters and really just great support for them. Now, let's talk about Summoner Monk. Now, I know a lot of people are probably questioning, why are you running Summoner Monk? Well, Monk is supposed to help accelerate getting to not Ash Blossom, to get to Ray or Rose. And the thing about it is, because of how easy these Sky Striker spell cards are to get themselves back into the deck or get them circulated, thanks to Kagari, Hercules base, and stuff like that. There really isn't any drawback to running Monk. You can easily send Monk to the graveyard for a lot of corresponding link summons. There is a ton of control in here because we have double Widow Anchor, Shark Cannon, and Mind Control, so you can easily link away monsters, and it's just an easier access to get to your other fours. So I was debating on running Summoner Monk initially, but I was just like, no, let's try out Monk and see how far it goes. And it's doing okay. It's not bad at all. And having the access to it. And if you really want to play around with Monk, add a couple of supportive spellcaster cards. Like, what is it? I mean, if you want to play around with it a little more and be a little fancy, what Book of Secrets, Book of Knowledge, and see how far that goes. All right, so that's Monk. And then one Rose and triple Ray. So Ray is your key component. You want to get to Ray as much as possible because she has a lot of access to herself. Rose, on the other hand, isn't as seen after as Ray because Ray has the ability to, send herself to the graveyard. So summon um, a Sky Striker monster from the extra deck, put them on the board. When they leave the field, she can come back to the board. Rose can get that normal summon off of a summon of a Sky Striker monster. Then in addition to that, that's at least 3 monsters right there. All you really need is one more card. And then bam, you have a field full of monsters that you can have access to really take out Pacific cards. You can easily make a lot of link monsters. You need to switch up your links and, run some Nightmare Phoenixes, some Nightmare Cerberuses, a Nightmare Unicorn if you want to flesh it out a little more, and then go into a lot of your bigger link monsters. But she has her ability to negate, she has her ability to stand on the field, and Ray has her ability to swap in and out. So it's a good matchup there, but I think multiple Roses was just not a good thing because we still have a lot of issues with getting into her Sky Strikers. And it's also why I put in Monk, because I wanted at least someone to help float the level 4s onto the field. And if I did want to feel a little fancy and maybe play a couple of tuner monsters, well, the Forbidden Limited list kind of had otherwise, but yeah, if I wanted to just feel a little fancy, I could have played some other, situational cards here and there, but I did want to at least get to them as much as possible, and I think Monk was a great addition to it, so. Alright, that is it for the monsters. Now let's go on to the large amount of spells that I run into this deck. So, a lot of the Sky Striker cards themselves are primarily a good portion of one-ofs, but for the most part, double Area Zero, because this can help you thin out your deck so you can get to Ray or Rose. If it's destroyed, you can get to them as well. And it helps you get out a lot of, cards you don't want to play around with. Like, say you did screw up with Monk, you can activate Area Zero to get rid of the Monk. And as long as you can excavate to get a Sky Striker card, you're perfectly fine. There should be nothing really hindering you from getting a clear field and then having access to the other spells. Otherwise, you can just dump the spells off of Monk and then go from there. Then, double Shark Cannon. Shark Cannon, Mind Control, and Widow Anchor, I can say in this. They're really good cards to take control of your opponent's monsters and then go into a lot of these other link monsters. Especially, like, I know the format and stuff is going to be a big change because, the extra deck monsters that were locked behind the link mechanic, fusions, synchros, and exceeds, are no longer going to be locked into having to need the extra monster zone or need a link monster to link summon. I mean, to be on the field in order for them to be on the field to a corresponding zone. So at that point, I mean, you practically can just steal whatever you want to and have no repercussions to it. And then in combination, I can also talk about, Widow Anchor. And I'm actually really happy to see Widow Anchor at 2 because at least that's a little bit of a boost. It's not the boost that we exactly wanted because I'm sure some of us wanted, to have at least one engage back. But the Widow Anchor will do well enough for at least a control variation of Sky Strikers. And it gives it a little bit of that support. So, that is Widow Anchor in Shark Cannon. I don't know why I keep saying Shark Cannon. We have a lot of one-ofs. We have, of course, the Token Maker in the form of Hornet Drone. And if you have the 3 or more spells, it becomes the 15 attack and defense. But you're really just using it for the token. Multi-roll to protect your Sky Striker spells from other card effects, and then during the end phase, you can put those cards, put any number of Sky Striker spells onto your side of the field face down based on the number of spell cards you played that turn. Just remember they do get banished once they leave the field, but you know the ins and outs to it. Um, just pick what you need and hope that you're not running too many cards that you need that end up being banished. And remember, your spell count does affect Shizuku and Kagari. You have removal in the forms of both Afterburner and Jamming Wave for polar opposites of each other with the 3 or more effect. You have Ego Booster for his defense, and you have a bit of your own Pot of Avarice effect in Hercules Ace. I did want to run Pot of Avarice, but I just, at a point, was like, I don't want to be too gimmicky with it. So, alright, that's it for all the 1-ofs, and then for the rest of the spell cards, I am running the Triple Foolish Burial of Goods. This is just a way to flesh out a lot of cards as well. If I dead, there is really no dead draw now because I'm even running Summoner Monk. So, multiples of these, thin out your deck, go get your, send whatever spell you want into the graveyard, and then taking advantage of cards like Kagari, or you can take advantage of Metal Foes Fusion. Twin Twister for back row removal. You can also play Mystical Face Typhoon if you don't want to really deal with the hand discarding, but hey, it's a fill-in if it needs to. Metal Foes Fusion. This is pretty much just here for the draw power. This and Upstart Goblin. And just a great, just an easy target for a lot of the cards in the deck. You have Area Zero, Summoner Monk, you have Multi-Roll, Twin Twister, Foolish Burial of Goods, so it's not really too much of a dead draw. Then you have Mind Control to snatch your opponent's cards away and do whatever you need to with them. Upside Goblin, like I said, for the draw power. Terraforming, the search for the field spell. And Reinforcement Army, just for a little more assistance to help you get to Ray or Rose. So that is it for all the spells. And then for all the trap cards, literally just 3 of them. Judgment for the negation. Compulsory to get rid of stuff. And you can also combo that off with Ray. And then you have Infinity Impermanence to pretty much be an additional negate as well. And a good starting opening hand if you have it. Because you can drop it on your opponent's turn if they start trying to build up their plays. And you can disrupt some of their plays as well. So, as far as the extra deck itself goes, triple Shizuku, because the in-phase search effect, she does reduce monsters' attack based on the number of spell cards in your graveyard by 100 times. So, that's a little more leeway there. Really nothing bad about this monster. And like I said, as long as you can get to her as soon as possible, you should be perfectly fine. Next up is Kagari, another monster with a ton of resources attached to her. Getting those Sky Striker spells from your graveyard, being able to have that additional attack attached to her, and then 100 attack for each spell in the graveyard in general. I'm sorry, not just Sky Striker spells. Hayate to help fill out the graveyard and a direct attacker. Kina to help you with dealing with, stall out and burn, because she gains 100 for every spell being activated the turn. And when she's at summon, it's, swap out. But it's whatever with Kina. And I'm only running one Zeka, only because I still want to test this monster out. Like, she's not bad, but the room itself for the extract might have to change a little bit in order for me to really want to take advantage of her. But she's not a bad card. It's just, she's very, very situational. But I don't know, like, if I had the chance to, I'd probably kick one of these Charmers out, or probably all 3, and then kind of run some Synchros and some Exceeds just about. Like, maybe, a Lightning and a Utopia, and then probably throw in another Zeka just to have some additional boost. Then, since we're speaking of the Charmers, I actually just threw these in just to counteract some things, especially with the extra deck summons and stuff like that, and just to have some additional with Mind Control, Widow Anchor, and Widow Anchor, Shark Cannon, and just to take and snatch your opponent cards. And then of course my trio of level 4s. The other thing about this is that you can also side in our main Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, and these can easily help you take out a lot of cards as well, because these four do tend to be in a lot of people's extra decks. Like if you just extra deck your Sky Striker engine and then extra deck like I don't know random cards insert here, you can easily deal with your opponent's extra deck off of a Ghost Reaper. And you know with a lot of things coming out right now for the extra deck, take advantage of it. I just decided to throw these in because I got my Widow Anchor, I got my Mind Control, and I got my Shark Cannon. So, hey, take advantage of taking control of your opponent's monsters and going crazy with the stuff they have. So, alright, that's pretty much it for my Sky Striker deck profile, you guys. And I hope you do enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I do have a lot of stuff posted on Instagram if you guys want to see, and do check out my latest video on, you know, me looking at the new TCG Forbidden Limited list. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will catch you all next time. HPJ signing out. Take care.